To clarify a quick detail right at the start, Benjamin Netanyahu is actually the Prime Minister of Israel, not the President. In Israel, the President holds a largely ceremonial role, while the Prime Minister holds the actual executive power and runs the government. Netanyahu, often known by his nickname Bibi, is the longest-serving Prime Minister in the nation's history. Here is the complete journey of his life, from his childhood to his historic political career. 1. Childhood and education, 1949 to 1967. Born in Tel Aviv, Benjamin Netanyahu was born on October 21, 1949, just a year after the modern state of Israel was founded. He was the middle of three sons born to Tzila and Benzion Netanyahu, a historian's influence. His father, Benzion, was a prominent historian specializing in the Jewish Golden Age of Spain and a staunch right-wing Zionist. This deeply intellectual, intensely realistic, and protective view of Jewish history heavily shaped Benjamin's worldview. Life in the United States. Because his father struggled to find an academic post in Israel due to his political views, the family moved back and forth between Israel and America. Netanyahu spent much of his adolescence in Cheltenham Township, Pennsylvania, where he attended high school, became fluent in English, and excelled in debate, soccer, and chess. 2. Military service, 1967 to 1972. Elite Special Forces. At age 18, Netanyahu returned to Israel to fulfill his mandatory military service. He was selected for Sayeret Matkal, the IDF's most elite top-secret commando unit. Combat experience. He spent 5 years on active duty, rising to the rank of team leader. He fought in the War of Attrition, took part in multiple cross-border raids, and was wounded in action twice, including during the famous 1972 rescue of hostages from a hijacked Sabina airline passenger plane. He later fought as a reservist captain in the 1973 Yom Kippur War. 3. Higher education and the tragedy of Entebbe, 1972 to 1982. MIT degrees. After active military duty, he moved back to the U.S. to study at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, earning a bachelor's in architecture and a master's in business administration. He briefly worked as a management consultant for the prestigious Boston Consulting Group. The loss of his brother. In July 1976, his older brother, Yoni Netanyahu, was killed while leading the legendary hostage rescue mission in Entebbe, Uganda. Yonatan was the only Israeli soldier killed in the raid, and his death was the defining tragedy of Netanyahu's life. In response, Benjamin founded the Jonathan Institute to study and combat international terrorism, which helped push him into the public eye. 4. Diplomatic rise, 1982 to 1993. Ambassador to the UN, Netanyahu's sharp intellect and polished American-accented English made him a natural diplomat. In 1982, he was appointed Deputy Chief of Mission in Washington, D.C., and from 1984 to 1988, he served as Israel's ambassador to the United Nations. He became a regular, highly effective face on global television networks defending Israeli policies. Entering politics, he returned to Israel in 1988, won a seat in parliament, the Knesset, under the right-wing Likud party, and served as Deputy Foreign Minister. 5. The Prime Ministerships, 1993 to present. In 1993, Netanyahu took control of the Likud party, positioning himself as the chief opponent to the Oslo peace accords. His career as Prime Minister is divided into distinct eras. First term, 1996 to 1999. At age 46, he became the youngest person ever elected Prime Minister of Israel. His platform focused on peace with security. Though skeptical of the peace process, his administration signed the Hebron and Y Accords to manage territorial withdrawals. He also championed free market economic reforms. He lost power in the 1999 elections. Interim years, after a brief hiatus, he returned to serve as foreign minister and later finance minister under Ariel Sharon, pushing aggressive economic privatization before resigning in protest over Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip in 2005. The long reign, 2009 to 2021. Netanyahu reclaimed the prime minister's office in 2009 and held on to it for over a decade. This era was marked by economic growth, strong opposition to Iran's nuclear program, the expansion of West Bank settlements, and the brokering of the historic Abraham Accords, normalizing relations with several Arab nations. However, his later years in this bloc were plagued by political gridlock and criminal indictments against him for corruption. Return to power, 2022 to present. After a short stint in the opposition, Netanyahu formed a coalition with far-right and ultra-Orthodox parties to return as prime minister in late 2022. His current term has been defined by immense internal turbulence, including massive domestic protests over proposed judicial reforms and the ongoing regional conflict sparked by the October 7, 2023 attacks. Throughout his life, Netanyahu has built his political persona on a singular premise, that his hardline, realistic approach to security is what keeps Israel safe. Did you know? Netanyahu was the very first Israeli prime minister born after the State of Israel was officially established in 1948. All his predecessors were born in Europe or pre-state Palestine.